Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video, Freedom with MC, where we are talking about how to actually manage, protect, and grow your money. All right. So, in today's video, we're going to be talking about something extremely important that many people, I believe, are dealing with, but don't really talk about a lot. And that is the value of the dollar today versus 20 years ago. So whether you're starting out fresh or you're looking for a new perspective on money, inflation, building wealth, this episode is for you. So make sure that you actually go ahead, grab a notebook, grab a pen, so you will actually be able to take notes. So what is it that we're actually going to cover today? All right, that's a very great question. So what we're actually going to cover today is going to be one, how does inflation actually silently rob you of your money over time? All right, that's the first point. Now, the second point is, why is saving alone not going to help you become rich or wealthy over a period of time anymore? You know, back in the day, they were able to just save money and it was going to grow. But these days, you have to take a different approach, and we're going to talk about that. Number three is how to protect and grow your money to the value of your dollar in 2025 and beyond. All right. So first, let's get into this first point, which is inflation. Inflation is the silent thief of your money. So what is exactly inflation if you don't know? Well, to keep things very, very simple, inflation actually means that your money loses buying power over a period of time. So for example, 20 years ago, 2005, a gallon of milk was actually about $2, all right? But now, especially depending on what state you're living in, a gallon of milk is probably $4 or more. So that dollar that you had back then actually buys a lot less today. So the reason why this is important is because many people do not understand inflation and they do not actually prepare for inflation. So they're actually trying to spend their money, which is, let's say, that dollar, as they would have 20 years ago. And it's not going to be able to work like that. So if you're actually not having your money in some type of system where it's able to grow, you are actually losing your money. Now, you may be sitting there thinking like, well, Matthew, I have my money in a bank. A bank is actually one of the worst places you can have your money because it is constantly losing value the longer that it sits in there. You put your money inside of a bank, and what does the bank do? They actually utilize your money as leverage to go and let someone else borrow money. And once they let someone else go borrow money, they're basically making money off of the money that you put in there, your hard-earned dollars. So here's what I want you to think about. Let's say that if you go and you took $10,000, all right? You took $10,000 in the ground in 2005 and you buried it. And now you're actually going to dig it up in 2025. You would still have the $10,000, but the world has become more expensive, and that is what inflation is, all right? And that is the silent killer of your money. If you're not preparing for inflation, you are basically losing money, and that's why, no matter how much you go to your job, no matter how much you actually go and you try to get a raise, maybe it's a 3% raise, that is never enough because inflation usually sits around 6 to 7% every single year. So if your money is not growing at a 6 to 7% every single year or potentially more, that is going to cause your money to actually go down. All right. So now we're going to move on to point number 2. Saving alone is not a strategy. All right. So why is it that you cannot just save your way to being rich? Why is it that you can't save yourself to being wealthy? Now, I first want to say that I am not against saving money. You should be saving some type of money because that is going to be something that you're going to need as far as if an emergency or something comes up. And if you do not have, money that's set aside in some type of liquid form, meaning that you have immediate access to it, you are not going to actually be in a good spot. Now, when it comes to savings, all right, when it comes to your savings account, and this goes back to why I said having your money in a bank is not actually the best thing. If you have your money in a bank account, let's say that the bank actually gives you 1% interest, but inflation is rising at 3 to 4% every single year. Well, if you are actually trying to play it safe, you are losing money by playing it safe. All right. So if you saved $50,000 over the last 10 years, Most people think that that sounds good. And for some people, maybe that actually is good. But if that money is just sitting there, you have less buying power today than you did yesterday. So that's why you can't just save your way to being rich. You can't just save your way to being wealthy, because the longer your money sits and is not being put to work, it is going to cause for you to actually have less and less buying power. Even you see it with real estate these days. You go and maybe a few years ago, you were able to buy a 3 or 4 bedroom house with maybe 2 or 3 bathrooms, and you were able to spend $250 or $50,000, depending on where it is that you live. But now, that same house is probably worth about 300,000, or it costs 300,000 or 350,000, or even in some places $400,000. And this is why it's important for you not to only be saving your money, but you have to shift your strategy to actually saving with a purpose. You want to be able to put your money in some type of vehicle that is going to allow for you to gain interest and basically have your money working for you while you are going out there and working for your money. All right. So this can be something such as investments, this can be assets, or this can be having some type of income producing asset that's going to constantly bring in more and more money and increase your cash flow. So number 3, how is it that you can actually protect and grow the value of your dollar? All right. This is really the main part that I want you to focus on and really take notes on this. All right. Inflation is real. Inflation is real. And if you do not account for inflation, you are going to be becoming more and more poor every single year. So the first thing that you need to do to be able to protect and grow your money is you need to educate yourself on where money is flowing now. All right. Some people look at high yield savings account. Some people look at real estate. Some people look at stocks. Some people look at developing digital skills such as digital marketing, selling digital products or e-commerce. And other people look at things such as IULs, which are index universal life insurance policies, or even whole life policies. And these are different vehicles that you can use to potentially increase your money and not just have it sitting, but have it working for you. Step number 2, you need to invest in yourself. All right. Skill sets beat stagnation. I'm going to repeat that again. Skill sets beat stagnation. If you can multiply your income, you can multiply your freedom. That means that by you going, let's say saving $250, $500 a month, now you actually have that money being put to work. That's going to allow for you to be able to gain more and more money over time because your money is being put to work and you now have a skill set that is allowing for your money to be able to be multiplied and increase your cash flow. Number 3, you have to automate your smart money moves. All right. This is very important because one of the things that I realized that I didn't do so well is I was like, hey, I'm going to save this money. I put it over in this savings account. And then what happened? I ended up taking it out because I spent too much and I wasn't properly budgeting. And then that caused for me to not be able to actually save money. But when I actually took the money out of my account and I put it in a different account, I don't have a credit card or a debit card attached to it. That money sits there, and then I have some type of asset that is going to go to that specific account and is going to grab the money out and allows for it to multiply. All right. So for instance, for me, and I'll just share this, for me, what I actually use is I personally have an IUL. All right. I have an IUL. I have money that goes into an account every time I get paid, and each and every single month, that policy actually goes and it takes money out of that account and allows for my money to be put to work. All right. Excuse me. All right. So what is it that you want to start focusing on? All right. You want to start focusing on educating yourself. You have to educate yourself. Many people think that ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is not bliss, because what you don't know will hurt you. You know, there's a scripture that I actually love, and it says that because of lack of knowledge, my people perish. People think that just because they don't know something and they decide not to want to go and know it, that that's going to be fine and that they're going to make it. That is going to be the worst mistake that you can never make. If you know that you don't know something, that is an opportunity for you to develop yourself. That's an opportunity for you to grow. And if you continue to have that mindset of, well, I just don't want to learn this, or oh, this is just too hard, you are going to continue to have a very difficult life. Because when you came on this planet, you didn't know how to walk. But guess what? You know how to walk. If you don't have any type of health issues. When you came on this planet, you didn't know how to feed yourself. But guess what? You learned how to feed yourself. When you came on this planet, you didn't know how to do a lot of the things that you know how to do today. But guess what? You decided that it was important enough for you to go and learn how to do those things. So now when it comes to your money, you can't just say, well, my mom didn't teach me, or my dad didn't teach me, or I just don't know, or it's so hard. It's going to continue to be hard until you make a decision to make it easy by going and learning what you don't know. All right. So make sure you go out and you start to educate yourself. There are so many different people. Even if you don't like the way that I present information, you can go on YouTube. You can look for different people that resonate with you more on how you can actually go and start learning more about money. You have numerous different types of books that are out there, and you can go gather that information on how you can actually become more knowledgeable about money. It's going to be important, especially with Trump having all these different bills that are coming out, with all these different laws and all these different basically a lot of different things that are coming out. If you don't understand it, it's fine that you don't right now. But in 6 months, a year, when you don't start to grasp some of these concepts and start being able to plan, you are going to be the person that's on the short end of the stick. And you're going to have nobody else to blame but yourself. All right. So you need to make sure you go and you start educating yourself. And once you're able to educate yourself, you have to start taking action. All right. So many people think that, well, because I don't take action today, I'm just going to wait a year. I'm going to wait 3 years. I'm going to wait 5 years. Well, guess what? If you don't start taking action now, you're going to be delaying all of the things that you could have learned because you didn't actually start. Like, say, for instance, for me, being transparent, starting this podcast, doing these videos on YouTube, going live on TikTok. A lot of these different things were new to me, and it was out of my comfort zone. But I got out of my comfort zone, and now I'm able to go and be confident when I go online, because at the end of the day, this is valuable information, and I believe that I'm providing valuable information for the community or for the people that are actually looking for that particular information. All right. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up today, and we're going to basically just do a quick recap. What did we talk about today? We talked about how inflation is quietly shrinking your buying power. All right. Inflation is constantly rising every single year by 3, 4, 5. Sometimes it's even up to 7 and 8%. And if you do not have your money in the proper place, you're going to be losing buying power. Number 2, saving money is not enough in today's economy. There are so many changes that are happening, and if you are only saving your money in a bank account, or you're just bringing it out of the bank and just holding on to it and not putting your money to work, you are going to be on the short end of the stick. Number 3, how to grow your money and protect your dollars. You need to start studying about real estate. You need to start studying about IULs or life insurance policies and different things like that can actually grow your money and have your money working for you when you are not working. Now, personally, for me, I believe that having a life insurance policy is one of the best ways. A cash value life insurance policy is one of the best ways to grow your money, because of the fact that when you actually have your money in that policy, it is protected. You do not lose money over time. All right. You are actually able to put your money into a vehicle to where it follows the stock market. And when the stock market is up, your money rises up. When the stock market goes down, your money stops moving. Then when the stock market goes back up, now it's going up again. That is the power of having a life insurance policy. We get insurance on our cars. We get insurance on our dogs and on our phone. But having insurance on your money is one of the best vehicles you can have to be able to protect your income. All right. Now, hopefully you were able to get some value from this. If so, make sure you comment down below what your biggest takeaway is. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing you all in the next video. And remember, it's not about how you actually start. All right. It's about getting started. So I'll catch you in the next video.